Cost of living, Wichita, Kansas. What's it like? Find out the answer on today's video. Before we get into all this, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this, depending on what platform you're in. I greatly appreciate that. But let's go ahead and get into it. The cost of living in Wichita, Kansas. So the first one I got is about the average job and pay here. Makes about $58,000 a year, which is about $26 an hour, which is about $48.33 a month. Just to give you an idea of like what the average job and pay. Obviously, each profession is a little different, but that gives you an average idea of what the average job and pay here is for what you're doing. The other thing with that, number two, is your average travel time. Literally, you can get anywhere in the city for about 15 to 20 minutes. It's one of the great things about Wichita is that you get a lot of time here back compared to other cities, other things like that. We may not have as high of an average job and pay as other places, but you get a lot more time and a lot more of the, what I'd call the important things that you get back that money can't buy with here. So average job and pay, about 58 grand a year, 48.33 a month, and average travel time, 15 to 20 minutes. Number three, your average rent price and home price. So average rent prices, you can expect to pay about $800 to $900 a month, depending on, size of house. Might be a little more than that, might be a little less than that. And that's for like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage house. What I would say is a pretty standard house that most people are looking for, depending again on their situation of everything. Now the average home price is $147,000, which is completely affordable compared to the rest of the nation. Not to mention when you start to take into account like what you make a year. So let's use the average job pay, for example. $58,000 a year is $48.33 a month. So if you paid, let's say $1,000 a month, that gets you about $150,000 to $160,000 house here. Based on that, even if you were single, that's about 20% of your monthly income goes towards housing, is what you'd be there. Now, if you're married, that's about 10%, because obviously you divide it in half. You guys should be making twice, a $48.33 a month times 2 would be $9,600 a month. Then you're paying $1,000 a month for your house. That's a pretty dang good living situation as far as terms of affordability and getting ahead. And that's why I say the cost of living in Wichita is amazing for being, a little big town. That's what I like to call it. And these are the exact numbers that help you see that, it's more likely to get ahead here than I'd say anywhere else to get started, get ahead in life. In Wichita, it's a great place to live, raise a family, travel to and from, but then you appreciate the cost here and everything we have here for everything. So that gives you an idea of the average rent and home. To give you an idea of like our price point of houses, we call the low end like 100 to 200,000. That's kind of your lower end or starter end. Anything below 100,000, we affectionately call the war zone for, what you could probably expect, why we call it the war zone. Of the houses you deal with, the people you deal with, as far as sellers and buyers, that's where all the craziness happens, is in the war zone underneath the 100,000. Your low end is 100 to 200,000, depending on the price point. 150,000 is $1,000 a month. That's our average price point, is 147,000 around here. Mid-range is like a 4-bed, 3-bath house, or 5-bed, 3-bath house, 2 to 3-car garage, good sized lot, is about 200 to 300,000. And I know other states, other markets is way more than that. So for a $200,000 to $300,000 house, you can get a well-established large home around here. Our only issue right now is we're having trouble getting enough of them and building enough of them fast with everything. And with everything going to remote work, I see more and more people coming here and living here because it's so much more affordable and we can work from wherever we need to. We're centrally located time zone wise, so it doesn't matter where we're at. Wichita is a great place to live and raise your family and get ahead financially. We also need a lot of construction laborers if you do any of that stuff. So, and then high end is about 300 to 450,000. That'd be what we consider the high end of the market. And then for us in our market, elite luxury range is 450,000 plus is what you'd be looking at. So that gives you an idea of the price points of homes, the different demographics that go with it, and those things to consider. Obviously, if you want more detailed exploration of what it might look like for a house for you, let me know. Look around my website, watch my other videos, reach out to me, and we can discuss more in detail your specific situation. Number 4 I have to get into is taxes. This is one thing that I have noticed depending on the state you're coming from. Like I know Colorado, there's a lot of people move from Colorado to here. And even though our prices are lower, our taxes tend to be higher as far as property taxes go. Some of the income tax, sales tax, grocery tax, different taxes we have. We do have a fairly, I'd say moderately taxed state. I wouldn't say we're the cheapest. I also wouldn't say we're the most expensive. I'd say we're pretty middle of the road, but depending on where you're coming from and what your experience is and your perspective is, we're pretty middle of the road tax wise. But with that, obviously, we have a lot of good state programs, citywide programs, regional programs that provide for a lot of the things that I think other cities don't necessarily. So we do have a little bit higher taxes than most of the rest of the nation, but we're also not the highest tax state in the United States. So, and then food and entertainment, I'd say we love our restaurants for sure. We have a good amount of entertainment. We don't necessarily have a lot of national sports team, like the Kansas City Chiefs is the closest national football team. I'd say Oklahoma City Thunder, it's not even in our state, is the closest professional basketball league. We have a lot more local college level, regional level sports. The Wichita State Shockers is a really popular one. They're really good. We have KU basketball in Lawrence. We have K-State basketball up in Manhattan and some of that. So as far as food and entertainment goes, we have a pretty good amount of regional attractions, not necessarily a whole lot of national attractions per se. We did host the March Madness tournament a few years back, and that was awesome at our arena. So we're kind of mid-range is what I'd call as far as food and entertainment, both the availability and the cost of those kind of things. We're not going to be like some of these bougie bars in Dallas and California and Florida where paying $15, $20 a drink type of thing. We're probably $5 to $10 a drink to give you an idea on entertainment and meals and food and that kind of thing. Wichita really loves its restaurants. It's a great entrepreneurial city that spurred a lot of innovation like Pizza Hut, White Castle, Freddy's, some of these chain type of places. But then also we have a lot of really cool local craft breweries, vintage, rustic. I hesitate to say this, but a little bit of a hipster feel to Wichita with everything. A lot of vintage, cool Cowtown things. That's what we're known for. So pretty good amount of food and entertainment options. Obviously we're not a giant city, so we're not gonna have as much as some of those giant cities like Austin or Dallas or Florida or California, some of those areas, Colorado. But obviously our prices aren't anywhere near all that. That's why I say Wichita is a really good place to live and work and raise a family and have a good base foundation. But then you can also go travel to California, Florida, Colorado, all those cool places to go to. But you don't necessarily need to pay the super high cost of living there. Just go visit and then come back and you'll appreciate Wichita. It's one thing about Wichita, the longer I live here, I'm from here originally, I've traveled a lot around elsewhere, and the more I travel elsewhere, the more I appreciate coming back and living in Wichita as a solid foundation for your life, for stability, and not just financial reasons, but also lifestyle reasons and everything else that goes with all that. So hopefully you learned a little bit more about the cost of living in Wichita, considered all things with that. If you like this content, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, go from there. Reach out to me if you got any questions on anything. And check out more of my videos I got on this channel to really get to know all things Wichita, real estate, lifestyle. Thanks, guys. See you later.